I'm Jeanette Pincus, and this is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025, and I have the honor to interview David Friedman, who has just finished being president of the Jewish Community Center. So David, thank you so much for coming in and sharing what it was like being the president at the JCC this past couple of years.
Thank you.
To begin with, we know that the Jewish Community Center over all these years their name has changed. Now you're the most recent one, so what is the JCC called right now?
Well, we're the Aaron Family JCC, or the Aaron Family Jewish Community Center of Greater Dallas. Just depends on who you talk to. But yeah, it's the Aaron Family JCC.
Okay, and as just the immediate past president, what years have you served?
Let's see, 2023 to 2025.
Okay, and what was your title?
Well, back after Danny Prescott left, they changed the title from president of the board of directors to chairman of the board of directors. So I am chairman. I was chair of the board of directors. Now, immediate past chair of the board of directors.
Okay. I imagine, as becoming president, that you were on the board for several years at the JCC. So
Correct.
How did you start getting involved?
So, my good friend of blessed memory, Marty Goldman, convinced me to join the Building and Grounds Committee in 2015. Marty was glad to have me. Marty was the CEO at the time, and he was placed on the Building and Grounds Committee. After 2 years of that, I became chair of that committee, and I've been chair of that committee for probably 8 years. And about, I guess it was 6 years ago, where I became a member of the board. And then I was the vice president, obviously, and then chair-elect, and then chair.
You mentioned Artie as the director that's been here, and Marty Goldman, who got you on.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is coming in your mind that you've worked with?
So, two of my closest friends are Ron Foxman and Jeff Seymour. So the three of those guys who are known around the community as the three wise men. They even had a sandwich or a entree named after them at a restaurant that is now no longer in business.
What restaurant was that?
I'm trying to remember. It was a deli that didn't make it.
Oh,
Most
okay.
delis in Dallas don't make it.
Right.
The three wise men, I don't know how they adopted me, and I became part of their group, and they mentored me. All three of them are past chairs of the J, and they kept bugging me for 6-7 years to become chair. I finally did. And in fact, when I stepped down, I mentioned that to them in my going away speech to get off my back.
As always happens within our Jewish community, there's so many things that go on locally and nationally, international. So I'm going to be asking you some questions about that. But first, I wanted to ask what the relationship the JCC has with our federation, which I know is our umbrella that takes care of all our organizations and represents our community.
We have a pretty good relationship with the J. During my tenure, Dot Heyman was chairman of the board of the federation, and she and I got very close during this time frame. We weathered a lot of challenges together, and Dot has a warm spot in her heart for the J. We have our aquatic center that we finished named after her family. So we became really close during the construction of that of our new destination pool. But as far as the federation, we have a close. They're on the campus with us, and so there's a lot of interaction between the J and the federation.
Now, we know there has been significant local and national and international events that have happened just in the few years that you were involved as president. So I'd like you to share what they have been, and what changes and what has happened with the JCC because of that.
Well, the most horrendous thing that happened as chair was obviously October 7th in Israel. That changed our community, our state, our country, the world. We rallied around the community here. We allowed things to happen on the property, which is pretty secure, on different community events to take place for the October 7th. The walks over the bridge by the J over Central took place twice during my tenure. We supported that by making our facility available to the community. The biggest issue or challenge that we had was to maintain a security presence. I can tell you, October 6th, our annual budget for security, and this is just manpower, labor, was close to $500,000 a year. October 8th, we ramped it up pretty much to, it's about $1 million, over $1 million a year to this date. We haven't relaxed that part of our budget. With extra manpower, visible manpower, training for our staff at the J. But the community again came together. We are a community center, and we provided all kinds of programs for the community during October 7th. That had to be the defining factor of the J at that point in my tenure for international events.
David, I'm thinking too, but the time you had it, the pandemic was also ending.
It was ending.
So the programming, things probably had changed a lot at the center, but how active it was, membership of things, and then for it to start getting back to whatever our new normal was going to be.
Right. So we were close to 3,300 member units, which means total families are about 10,000 members, including would be part of those family units before the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, we dropped to around 2,200 units. We kept ramping that up during my tenure. The pandemic was over when I started, but we were still around 2,500, 2,600 units, and now we're back to around 3,400 family units to this point. And so we worked and strived to get people back. Some people left, didn't come back. A lot of new members came back. We had a lot of members that kept paying their dues during the whole pandemic, which was very helpful to us. Because we paid our staff continuously during the pandemic. We did offer, and this is actually before my time, but we did offer video school for our people in our preschool, our students, kids. We offered exercise classes online, yoga classes and things like that. And we continue to do a lot of those activities now. We folded a lot of those into our MyJ app. You can go on there and register for some online exercise classes. We have expanded that J app to include all of our new swim lanes and tennis lessons and pickleball lessons and yoga classes and all kinds of neat things included into our new J app that happened on our watch.
And I also know there was remodeling that has gone on.
So yeah, we've remodeled, some major remodeling.
Yeah.
When I started, our destination pool was complete. The community has wrapped their arms around it, which we thought they would, and they did. We added Jolie's Cafe, which is named after my predecessor, Jolie Newman, who was a chair before me. We have that cafe open during the summer to serve food and beverages at the pool. We redid our complete fitness floor with all new fitness equipment, and we just finished about 6 months ago our locker room project. So we have a world-class country club style locker room, country club style workout facility. It has helped us with our membership, bringing new members in. I guess one of the things that I pushed for, and the board pushed a little bit back on me, but the real estate group on our executive committee and board helped me with this, and we put in a cold plunge in the hydrothermal areas. It was cost us an extra bunch of money to do, and it has been well received, and everybody's glad that we put it in. We have a lot of, I'll say, 25 to 45-year-olds just lining up to get in that thing. So the interesting part about that, and there's a video online, you can see it on the J website. I'm not a cold plunge guy, but the finance committee and the exec board made me be the first one in the cold plunge. So they did a video interviewing me to get in the cold plunge, and I was in and out of that thing so fast, I think there are parts of my body that didn't even get wet. And so it was fun, but that's it. I'm done. I've been in the cold plunge now, so everybody else can enjoy it.
You know, just hearing you talk, I'm going a little bit off of this, but it's really something that I mean, you've been active in so many other, with the religious schools, with Temple Emmanuel, I know, and with the J, and I remember with Boy Scouts, with the girls' things and everything. I wanted to just to share a little bit of where you come from and how that actually influenced you to be so active and to take such a part of valuing, being in the Jewish community like this. Which I know is off script.
That's okay. I grew up in a small town, Jackson, Tennessee, which I know you've been with me on vacation there, Jeanette. My family, my great-grandfather, my grandfather were basically started the temple in a small town. We only had about 80 Jewish families as part of the Reform community there. And it was always, Judaism always meant something to me growing up. Ninth grade, and as soon as I could drive, my parents let me drive to Memphis, which was 70 miles from Jackson, and I participated in BBYO at the JCC in Memphis. So that's my first exposure to the Memphis Jewish community in a big city. And I went to all kinds of softy events around the South with that group. And so growing up, I played flag football at the JCC in Memphis and swam there, and my uncle lived there, so I had a place to stay, and it was very enjoyable for me. And when I got to Dallas, I continued with that connection with the J. My kids went to camp here at the J. They took, well, they actually didn't take swimming lessons. Well, swimming lessons during camp. My son played t-ball here, and consequently my grandkids have learned to swim here. They've gone to camp here, and So it's kind of come, I don't want to say full circle because we're still driving now.
Right.
But um, just love the J, and I'm glad my buddy Marty got me involved, and it's kind of been good for our whole family.
You've mentioned it's not all the things, but I want to make sure that we cover. If there's any other experiences that you had, stories that you want to share, things that you're proud of, or that you were happy you were part of.
So when I became chair, I wanted to do some team building exercises with my new board. So my first board meeting in August was out by our brand new pool. And so I had everybody come in, all the board members come in on Sunday. We met in the lodge out by the pool, and I told them to wear their swimming suits to the board meeting. And so I divided the board up into, I think it was 6 teams or 7 teams. Gave them some construction paper, some 4-foot by 8-foot sheets of cardboard, markers, paint, plastic, and duct tape. And I gave them 2 sets of plans and told them to read the plans, and they had 2.5 hours to build a boat. And they were going to build this boat, and then after they were done, we were going to race them in the new pool, in the new lap pool. And they were freaking out. But what was interesting was it served its purpose. We had some leaders emerge in the groups. We judged on who won the race and best boat, best designed boat. So you had to decorate your boat. It was a fun event. They enjoyed it. The only thing I look back on is I only made them swim or row 1 lap. So none of the boats sank. I was hoping one would sink, and not one of them sank. I think if we'd have run 2 laps, we would have had one sink, but we didn't. And then the next board meeting, it was interesting. I had our staff, take the board on a tour. We broke into groups again and take them on a tour of the J. And I was amazed to find out how many of the board members didn't know we had certain programs going on in the J. So it was an enlightening part for me and for the board to learn that somebody's always just gone to the sports and fitness area. They didn't know we had an auditorium, or they didn't know we had a school, or they didn't know we had a senior wing. And so it was very enlightening for me and the board, and we all learned from that event, and we've continued to do that with our new board members. I guess one of the big programs that we started here at the J under my term was Tara O'Haran. She's now our COO. She started this program called Jaberhood, and these are groups in the community, and we have 30 of them all over the city. And they don't come into the J. They meet on their own. And one's a grandparents group that I'm in. One's a pregnant moms group. One's just a young group that wants to get together. One's a widows group with widowers. It's amazing, and it has gotten to be such a good organization. We have other J's around the country calling Tara and trying to clone this program because it's very good. It's a community-wide program. A lot of the people that are in it are not members of the J, so it makes them aware of what we're doing here locally on North Haven, and it's a great program. We started our CRM, our software group, which helped advance our MyJ app, and that's an evolving system now. We're still adding to it, changing it, adding membership modules and other modules to that program, and it's going to get a lot better over some time. Todd Shannon and our new CEO Todd Pelikoff are really working hard to get that to be a first-class part of the J. I'll have to say the biggest, I don't want to call it an issue, but the biggest challenge that I had during my tenure was our storied and beloved CEO decided to resign after being here for 21 years. And that was hard as far as the board chair goes. With everything else going on, throwing that into the mix, it's not something that you want to do every day. And for someone that had been here and is beloved in our community, not just at the J, but all over town, was interesting. So we had to figure out how to do this, how to break into the community, and how to move forward. And we did a really good job, and I want to say, in tackling the situation. Artie worked real well with me on our transition. I want to say Todd Shannon, who was chair-elect at the time, he and I, we were like brothers for 6 months in this search, putting a search committee together, putting a shareholders committee together, getting the community to help us. It was rewarding, actually. I'll say this: the search that we did was interesting. I want to say we found the best candidate for Dallas, and looking back after Todd Pelikoff has started, the community has embraced Todd, and he's embraced the community, and I think we did a really good job in filling that position, which was really hard to do because Artie was so well liked, and Mr. Pelikoff is going to take us to the next level, and he's really, really good. We're really fortunate to get him, and he's made some changes. All have been good. I'll have to say this too. During the time that Artie stepped down, which was mid-December, and before Todd came on board, which was May, our staff, our C-suite staff, Carol Gronin, Tara, Daniel, and Laura Pope, they all stepped up. We met weekly to go over challenges that were going on in the agency. The agency really never, to my knowledge, really never saw us miss a beat during that time frame when we had that vacancy. They worked really hard together. We worked really good as a team to keep the J running smooth, and it was done well. And even when Todd Pelikoff started, he could tell that we had taken care of the J in the absence of a CEO. It was challenging, but it was, I don't want to say it was fun, but it was rewarding. It was rewarding.
Well, David, I want to thank you so much for sharing what it was like being president of the JCC, and also on behalf of the Dallas Jewish Historical Society, your support while you were president here too, and the JCC has been wonderful for us. That you just welcomed us. We feel like we're part of the community center, and there has never been any time we've had any requests that you guys didn't say yes to us. So it's just been a wonderful partnership for us, and we're so happy to be part of the Jewish Community Center. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
My name's Jeanette Pincus, and I have the opportunity today on Monday, February 2nd, 2026, to interview David Friedman. And what we're going to be talking about today is David's going to share his story with us of what life was like, where he's from, and when he came to Dallas, too. So, David, thank you so much for coming in and talking with me today.
Well, it's a pleasure.
I'd like to begin with, if you can tell some background about your family, like anything you want to start with your grandparents or your parents, or where you'd like to begin with that.
Okay. Well, let's see. I was born in Jackson, Tennessee, 1956 in March, coming up on 70 years. My grandparents on my mom's side moved to Jackson, Tennessee, or my great-grandfather moved here from Lithuania and ended up coming through Ellis Island in Jackson, Tennessee, of all places. Not Mississippi, Tennessee. It's always confusing for my friends. And started a department store in a small town of 25,000 people. He started the temple, B'nai Israel, in Jackson, Tennessee. His son, my grandfather, built the building that is still used to this day in Jackson, where I grew up.
You share their names.
Okay, so Aaron Samuel Lindy and Eva Lindy came over here from Lithuania. Well, actually, I'll take that back. Grandpa Aaron Lindy came over from Lithuania, and he met Eva in Mississippi, and then they moved to Jackson, Tennessee. His son, he had 5 kids, and my mom, my grandfather Julius Lindy, was born, and he took over the department store and started a shoe store in Tennessee, in Jackson. And of course, my mom was born there in Jackson, and she ran off to the University of Alabama, unfortunately. Sorry, I'm an LSU guy. And she met my dad, who's from St. Louis. My dad's parents, Maury Friedman and Clarice Friedman, came over from London, and they met and moved to St. Louis, and that's where my dad was born. And he went from St. Louis to Alabama and met my mom there. And then when they left, they went off Dad got drafted and was stationed in, I think, in Mobile, Alabama, of all places. But then they ended up moving back to Jackson, Tennessee, and Dad took over my grandfather's shoe store. And so I grew up there. My mom had a brother, Malcolm Lindy, who had 3 kids, and they moved to Memphis, and so consequently went to Memphis a lot to visit my uncle and his family, Malcolm Lindy, and
How far was the drive?
the drive from Memphis to Jackson was 70 miles. As soon as I got my driver's license at 16, Mom and Dad let me, believe it or not, drive 70 miles on the interstate every weekend to stay with my uncle, and I got involved in a Jewish fraternity in Memphis, which was kind of part of a BBYO, and in Memphis, and Dad had to join the Jewish Community Center in Memphis so I could play all the sports with BBYO there, and it was
What was the Jewish fraternity called?
It was called Pi Tau Pi. We were the only chapter in the region. I think Atlanta had one. I think had one. It was very few of them around the country. Mm-hmm. But
now you mentioned that your family started the synagogue in Jackson. Was it a Reformed, conservative?
It was.
There was a real
It
building.
was reformed. It was a real building. When my dad was president, he built a wing on the. I say a wing, 3 classrooms for the Sunday school.
And so, how many members did y'all have?
Growing up, we had probably 80 families around, and that was from all around the small towns in Tennessee,
Even
in
smaller.
West Tennessee, even smaller than 20,000.
Yeah.
So the town was roughly 20,000. It's probably about 100,000 now. The temple's struggling there. All my friends have moved out. Their parents have all passed away. My friends, none of my friends that I grew up with that were Jewish live in Jackson. But the temple has about 20 families as members now.
So when you were growing up there, you went to Sunday school. It sounds like. So did you all do holidays as one big group?
We did. We did. We did all the Jewish holidays, and as you could tell, it's a big Baptist town in Jackson, Tennessee. So I grew up with a lot of. There was a lot of anti-Semitism in the town, but there was also a lot of curiosity in growing up, and it was interesting in that people wanted to know about Jews. They didn't really know because I was the only Jewish guy, the exposure to Judaism that all my friends had.
So like you're saying, in high school.
High school was not so bad.
I mean, there was like how many Jews were in each?
Well, I only had
class,
5 Jewish kids my age in my age group. My brother had 3. He's 2 years younger than I am, Donnie, and my sister had 3 or 4 in her age group, who's 3 years younger than me.
What's her name?
Ellen, and so the 3 of us kind of grew up. I don't want to say on an island, but and we had our friends. And I mentioned BBYO in Memphis. One of the reasons mom and dad let me go to Memphis was because there were high school fraternities in Jackson, Tennessee that I was not allowed to join because I was Jewish. They had no Jewish clause in their bylaws, and even though my friends all wanted me in there, they couldn't get me in. And I would go to their parties but not do anything else. So Mom allowed me to drive to Memphis every weekend, and I joined the BBYO/fraternity in Memphis.
So when you would go on the weekend, I guess you'd stay with your
Stay with
family,
my uncle.
and so
My uncle, my mom's brother, and his family, and consequently my cousins Julie, Jeff, and Beth, who now live in Atlanta and Alabama. We've remained close throughout the years. We've all gone to each other's weddings and kids' bar and bat mitzvahs, and they've come here and gone there, and it's that part of our family has remained close through all the years, and to this day we still do.
So it sounds like you felt, even though Jewish life in Jackson was more observance for the holidays and things like that, your social life, that you got to play ball and things like that, and go out socially, everything. Memphis was your place to go.
Yeah, and after I graduated high school there, and I went to LSU, which is where I met Debbie, my wife, from New Orleans.
Now I'm going to ask you first about this.
Okay.
When you went to LSU, did you go on a scholarship?
I did. When I was in high school, I was a manager on the football team and ran track, and I went off to LSU.
So you were an athlete. You were on the high school
Athlete.
Yes.
I walked on at LSU as a trainer, an athletic trainer, and my second semester of my freshman year, they offered me a full athletic scholarship to go to LSU. So I was on scholarship for 4 years, and believe it or not, I have a varsity letter from LSU because of that. It was a fun time to go there, but yeah, it was. But my cousins from Memphis, and in fact, my Julie, my oldest cousin from my uncle's daughter, she went off to LSU, and she was there when my brother and sister and I were there. So let me back up. My brother and sister also went to LSU, so they all followed me there, and so we're all kind of Tigers now. But it was interesting. That's where I met my wife, Debbie.
So, the years you were at LSU was what years would that have been?
74 to 80.
To 80. So there was a Jewish student life there.
Correct. I was in ZBT, Jewish fraternity, and my wife Debbie was in AE and we participated in that. We were members of the Hillel there. Now, unfortunately, LSU has lost all the Jewish content. There's no kids, no Jewish fraternities or sororities at LSU. Hillel's coming back. They're trying to establish ZBT there now. 2 years ago, some of my fraternity brothers are trying to get their kids to go there to restart it. So they're working on that. But most of the Jewish kids in Louisiana end up going to Tulane now. So they kind of abandoned LSU. But after I graduated there, Debbie and I moved to Dallas in 1980. And interesting fact.
What made you come here?
We didn't want to move to New Orleans, and we didn't want to move to Memphis. And I had an opportunity to move to Dallas with a Train air conditioning company, and we took it. And one of my fraternity brothers, Randy Pulitzer, had married a girl from Dallas and was living here. Margot Pulitzer, Rosenberg Pulitzer, who we have our cafe at the J named after Margot. Her mom dedicated it, donated the cafe in her name. They also sponsor our book fest at the JCC. So Margot and Randy and I and Debbie knew each other. So when, in fact, Randy's cousin, I was his roommate in college. Was my roommate in college, and so we had that connection with him. And when we needed a place for our kids to go to preschool, we didn't know anybody in Dallas hardly, and we sent them to Akiba because, as you know, the Rosenberg family was one of the founding members of Akiba, and so we sent our kids to Akiba, which was foreign to me because growing up Reform in Jackson, Tennessee, coming to Dallas and sending my kids to an Orthodox day school was a little bit of a change in my life. And so when the kids hit third grade, my son Aaron hit third grade at Akiba, I dare say it got a little bit religious for me, and so we ended up putting them in public school after that. And but we maintained our Jewish connection through Temple Emmanuel and the JCC here. And believe it or not, my daughter was involved in Indian Princesses with a good friend of mine, Jeanette and Mike Pincus' daughter. They grew up together. And my son played t-ball at the J and ended up being a counselor in high school here.
So it sounds to me that the opportunity to move here, because it's a much bigger city, but I know Debbie coming from New Orleans, which is a big city, you were able to feel like you were part of the community almost immediately, the Jewish community, and got yourself involved with things.
Right.
And you felt the connection.
And growing up, I was an Eagle Scout. My dad was an Eagle Scout. And so we had a lot of Jewish friends and kids, our kids' age, in Richardson ISD at Brentfield and Park Hill and J.J. Pierce, where they all went to school. I ended up becoming scoutmaster of the Brentfield elementary school troop, where my son was, who became an Eagle Scout. So we have 3 generations of Eagle Scouts in our family, and I have 2 grandsons now, Jordan and Jake. So the pressure's on them if we're going to make it 4 generations or not. Time will tell. They've got about 5, 6 years before they even think about joining Scouts. But being Scoutmaster was pretty fulfilling for me. I got to work with a lot of kids. We had a pretty big troop. We had 65 kids in the troop, which is a good sized Boy Scout troop. And those were fun times. Those were fun times.
Now, besides being active, I know with the Boy Scouts and Eagle Scouts, you also you've taken on a lot of leadership roles in the Jewish community. You mentioned that you all have been members of Temple Emmanuel, and what have you've done with them?
Temple Emmanuel, a lot of temples, this goes back 10 years, I guess, felt the need to start being concerned about security within these facilities and how things were being handled. And I was asked to chair the first security committee that they started at Temple Emmanuel about 8 years ago. And so I did that for about 6 years at Temple. And we've done some really good things there to secure the facility and keep everybody safe.
Yeah, and you're mentioning that, and I think that's one of the things when times have changed or things are more upfront with us, that this is something that we didn't even consider was a need to have, and that I guess a lot of times we'll talk about what changes we've seen in the community, I guess, and the world since we've done that is something like this to deal with the security.
Yeah, we all remember where we were when JFK was shot. We all remember what happened. We started the security committee at Temple Emmanuel, and then shortly after that, the incident in Pittsburgh happened at the Tree of Life Synagogue, which really brought the whole country, an awakening to the whole country. And so you try to stay ahead of the game. You try to keep everybody informed. Those are a lot of the key issues that you have to do. You layer your security for whatever, and it's function of everybody's had to learn this stuff on the fly. And it's not just that. It's getting hacked on Zoom calls. It's all kinds of things that need to be looked at. And so that was the start of it, and it's turned into a just an everyday occurrence now at all the agencies around the country, especially in Dallas. I mean, we're a big Jewish community with targets on our back, so we have to be careful what we do.
I know you mentioned your grandchildren. We've got our grandchildren at Levine, and you've also said that you've taken on to helping them too.
Yeah, I was chair of the JCC for 2 years, and that was a little bit more work than I thought it was going to be. I won't say work, time invested. It was a fun 2 years. It was enlightening 2 years, enjoyable 2 years. I love doing it. It's now that I'm immediate past chair, it's freed up some hours that I have available to do some other things in the community. And my grandkids, Jake and Jordan, are at Levine, and they're going through some changes in the facility. And my background being in construction and air conditioning, I volunteered to work at Levine on their facilities committee. Same with JFS. Now I've got extra time. And JFS is hopefully in the next couple months about to move into their new building, and so I've been working with them with the extra time I have on my hands now.
A little bit extra time besides working.
Yeah.
You also, I know you mentioned Aaron. I want to make sure that you mention your daughter's name, which I think you might have done, and their spouses to make sure that we have that on there.
So my daughter Jana is married to Brett Woolham, and finally changed her last name on my contact list in my phone to Woolham. That was that was a tough one for me to finally do. Jan and Brett live in Carrollton, about 15 minutes from us, so we're blessed to have them close by. We get to see them a lot. A lot of our friends have their kids out of town, and Debbie and I just don't know how that is, because just we see them at least once a week, and, and they're doing well. Janet's starting her own business and organization, and Brett's doing some work in IT. I don't even know what part he's in there. I don't understand some of that stuff, but he's doing that. Aaron and his wife, Batya Myers, they've been members of the community since we moved here in '80. And what's funny is we go back and look at some old pictures, and Jana, my daughter, and my daughter-in-law Batya were in the same Girl Scout Brownie troop together. We found a picture of them, a group picture of them together, and Debbie was their scout leader back in those days, and so that's kind of interesting. But Aaron and Batya and Jake and Jordan, they live literally at 4/10 of a mile from us, so we see them all the time. And this past week in Dallas, everybody was snowed in for 4 days, so I got to see the grandkids. They walked over or slid over from the house, and it's fun having them that close. We see them every Shabbat. They come. Debbie picks them up at Levine and brings them home, and we get to play and do things for a couple hours before they go back to their house.
When you shared with us about your grandparents and your parents, it sounds like you and your uncle that lived in Memphis. The values that I feel that I've been hearing, being very close to family and also being very active in the community. So I guess more, and concluding this a little bit, is what's important to you, values that you have that you feel like you show this in what you do to your kids and to your grandkids. Like, what do you want for them? Or
the important thing to them is to know that we've all grown up with family is our main glue that binds us all together. And to me, Judaism is part of that glue. And I think my son, my daughter, my son-in-law, and my daughter-in-law have the same values. So we have that in the back of our DNA, that while we're all here, what keeps us together, and just the traditions of family, and knowing that family, and being part of it all together is very important to me, and I know it's rubbed off on them. So, yeah, Brett and Jana don't have kids right now, but we'll see. We do some trips together and with everybody, and but it's been a long way to go, hopefully. Yeah, I think Dallas is a big community, but I think the Jewish community here is a close-knit community. I think the JCC, to me, has been just a stake in the middle of the city that's pulled everybody together for us, as far as our family, through sports, through the sports and fitness area, through the kids growing up here, being coached here, learn how to swim at the J. It's been kind of the center of our life. But
I know I got a chance to interview you as past chair, and I know we didn't get to after it was done, we didn't really get to fit. There were some things that we still needed for you to say that you wanted to share. So we're giving you that opportunity to make sure we get it in now.
I guess the important part about as I even though I'm still active at the J on several committees, leading up to me being chair, I was chair of building and grounds, security committees, and other things. But the 6 to 7 years prior to being chair, it was very rewarding to me at the J. I wanted to just say, had I not had the support of Debbie and my kids, I wouldn't have been able to do it. They were behind me 100% the whole time, and still are. But without that, it's all what you put into it, and I go full force into these things, and without their support, knowing that I'm away from them, and means a lot. And I will say also the structure that the J has over the years, now being part of the past president's fraternity / sorority, because we have both genders in our group, and it means a lot. I'll say this about the past chairs and past presidents of the J, because they changed the name a while back, or the title. It's a very active group. The past presidents and past chairs are very active to this day, and a very supportive group. It's and everybody in the group are leaders in the community outside of the J as well, and it's an honor to be part of that group. One of my big mentors and friend, Marty Goldman, who's passed away, he's one of the reasons why I started down this path, and he got me and mentored me on this path. And even though he's gone, I still talk to him. No, thanks for letting me get that in there. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate. It's been such a pleasure for me to get to visit with you, and for me to be the one that gets the one to interview for this. So I appreciate it too. It's been great. Thank you.
Well, thanks for making it easy.
Thank you.